the first race of the weekend for the penultimate meeting of the Ultimate Cup Series in 2024 here at Circuit Magny-Cours is about to get underway. As you can see, we are bathed in the beautiful French sunshine. It's a wonderful evening here in the region of Nevers, where this 4.411 kilometre sits, of course, former home of the French Grand Prix. The moon shining on us as well. Absolutely glorious out here at the moment. But down on Earth, we have the first of our 25-minute races that is about to get underway, the first of 4. And as you can see, cars making their way out of the garages, and soon we'll be joining Claire Cottingham on the grid. We've just wrapped up the Legends car France practice session, so they're just clearing pit lane, and then soon the GT cars will be released onto the racetrack. This is Sébastien Loeb, who will start on the front row of the grid, the fastest of the Porsche Cup cars in qualifying earlier today. See, the Legends have left a little bit of detritus out on the track, namely some gravel. That shouldn't cause too many issues for this mixture of classic GT3 machinery, Porsche Cup, Ferrari Challenges, Alpine, Ginetta cars, as well as Ligier and Midget's GT4 machinery as well. It's a real mix in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. 14 cars due to take the starts for the first of our 25-minute races of the weekend. A number of the cars being shared, so the drivers can split the drive time and do 2 races each, and each score towards their own points table. And in fact, we do find ourselves in the slightly odd situation where Lyle Schofield, who is attempting to wrap up the UCS 3 championship this weekend. He was 17 points ahead of Frédéric Lacour, but the Frenchman is not here this weekend, so the man he has to worry about is Lorenzo Montiero, the man he shares the number 353 SR&R Ferrari 488 Challenge with. And so it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how that's going to play out, because it's going to depend on how Lorenzo performs in races 2 and 4. It's Lyle taking the wheel for races 1 and 3. Elsewhere on the grid, of course, we talked about Sébastien Loeb. He's sharing the car with Stéphane Perrin. Those two are getting some extra laps under their belts in preparation for the Ultimate GT Endurance Cup race on Sunday, the 4-hour. Also doing the same is the GP racing team, Gabriel Pimont and Loic Thiers, who will be out with Anthony Beltois, the multiple Carrera Cup France and French GT champion, on Sunday. But for now, it is Gabriel Pimont who will take the start for this race. But for these 2 races, we still wait for the cars to be released from pit lane. Slight delay in the schedule for this, as we had to have some extended running for the European Endurance Prototype Cup earlier today due to a multitude of red flags. As you can see, the marshals are ready and waiting for the cars to make their way out there. But it is double pole position for 2 cars, the cars that topped both qualifying sessions. Remember, it's your second fastest time that sets the grid for races 3 and 4 in the 2 qualifying sessions, as the pit lane is now open for business and cars will start making their way. We can hear some pops and bangs of engines roaring into life. There we go. Cars making their way onto the grid. But it is double pole position for the Debard Automobiles by Racetivity number 60 Ford GT of Hugo Chevalier. He's sharing that car with Eric Debard. His 60th birthday today. Joyeux anniversaire, Eric. No coincidence that he's in car number 64 this weekend. His daughter Carla also racing this weekend. The French GT4 racer in the Porsche Cup car, number 81, car that Eric normally drives. Carla making her Porsche Cup debut, as far as we can tell. And then the car that will start on pole position for the other two races will be Lawrence Tomlinson, the Ginetta CEO in the CMR-prepared Ginetta G56 GTX. So that is the car that is a step beyond GT4. It's that GTX being released from competition regulations. So that fits into our UCS 3 category, along with the Ferrari 488 Challenge cars, largely from SR&R. And in fact, the other two cars this weekend are from SR&R because we have lost the racing spirit of Le Mans Frederic Lacour car, sadly. So we can just listen to the cars making their way out onto the racetrack. As we do have the mix of the Porsches, tend to be the loudest ones out there, but the NASCAR Ford engine in the number 64 GT will definitely make quite a rumble as well. And it is 3 different classes in the first 3 positions, UCS 1, Porsche Cup and UCS 3. The various classes, give you a rundown of those. So UCS 1 being for predominantly GT3 cars, but also for some older GT3 cars as well. UCS 2, which is largely for the Super Trofeo machinery, all cars homologated to GT2. And then UCS 3, which is mostly Ferrari Challenge machinery, but also the Vortex 1.0. The 2.0s you'll see in the endurance race on Sunday is classified as UCS 1. UCS 4 for GT4 cars. Porsche Cup is fairly self-explanatory. Not just contemporary machinery, that is also open to the 991 and the 997 cars. And then UCS Light, which is a bit more of an approved on application kind of category, but largely we have the Ligier JS2R and the midjets as well, but it is also open to the Ginetta Academy car and the Alpine A110 Cup car that you see in the Alpine Elf Cup series. And so we do have cars now on the grid, or at least making their way to the grid. Some members of the Vortex team watching on that, but it will be Hugo Chevalier, the GT World Challenge racer last year, but we've largely seen him out in the GT Endurance field here as part of the 2B Autosport team. He was certainly there in Mugello, but last year was in the CLRT Porsche and GT World Challenge Endurance. Before that, various appearances in GT4 across Europe and in the French series as well, largely in Mercedes machinery, but also has some Bentley experience as well with the CMR team back in 2020 in GT World Challenge Europe. There is the pole-sitting car, the Ford GT. That car was originally going to be a Mercedes C63 AMG DTM car. But Eric Debard and Hugo Chevalier did some laps in that yesterday, and it was deemed too noisy for the circuit. We have a noise limit here of 105 decibels. The DTM car was rocking 113. And so they had to dig this out of the back of the truck and get it ready. And, well, it's not a DTM car, but it is still a fabulous piece of GT history. This car that used to be the Matec team car at the hands of Thomas Much, developing not only that car in the GT3 European Championship, but also as a test mule for the GT1 Championship as it was back in the day. So here we are at the beautiful Magny-Cours circuit once again, practically a home race for the Ultimate Cup series. You see the Ford will be on the right-hand side. Such a low-slung machine compared to the Porsche on its right-hand side, and even the Ginetta behind it looks quite large in comparison to quite a small car. But Claire Cottingham is down on the grid, and she's with our pole sitter.
I am indeed. Sorry, we were just having a quick engineering chat there. Hugo, how are you doing? How are you feeling? This is a beast of a machine.
Yes, I'm feeling very well. It's always fun to drive this old car. It's from 2007, so it's always a good feeling for me and for the spectators also and all the fans.
17 years old, if my maths does it right, and it hasn't lost any speed out there at all, has it?
Yeah, I don't understand very well. Can you?
It's very fast, even though it's old.
Yeah, it's a fast car, even if it's a little bit old. We are only at 2 or 3 seconds of the new GT3 generation, so it's so good.
How are we feeling starting from pole position for the first race of the weekend?
Oh, it's really good, and we are here for fun, so it's good.
And also, I found out that you've been doing some coaching with Carla up the other end of the grid. How's that been going?
It's going well. This is his first time with the car, with the Cup car. She always drives GT4, and she is the first time for her today with the Cup car. And the lap time is really cool, and I think she will do really good improvement for the next for this race.
You'll have to not pay attention to her too much because you've got a race to win.
Yes.
Confident of a win?
Yes, confident.
Very confident. I'll let you get ready because we've got a 3-minute board just about to be shown. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, of course, Hugo getting ready to go racing here in Mugello. The first race of the weekend about to get underway right here in, of course, I said Mugello, but we're in Magny-Cours, aren't we? It's not raining, so it's got to be Magny-Cours.
Yes, conditions significantly better than when we left Mugello at the beginning of September. No floods in the pit lane this time, but yes, Hugo Chevalier there, alluded to it, taking over from Simon Gachet for this weekend as Carla Debard's race coach, as Simon Gachet is on GT World Challenge duty in Barcelona for this weekend. So Hugo taking over those duties. Of course, Simon sharing the GT4 car with Carla in the French GT Championship. Just saw a look there at Cesar van der Westen, who's running solo this weekend in the 2B Autosport number 14 machine. His brother Carl, who he normally shares the car with, is off rallying this weekend, and so Cesar flying the flag solo for the van der Westen family. Of course, they have their father in the car for the GT Endurance race in Mugello as well. Alexandre Herbin snapping some photos of the GT car, the Ford GT on pole position. And I mean, everyone has been. It's been a very popular car. Drivers from up and down the field have been poking their head into the Racetivity garage just to have a look at it. And as Hugo said, only a couple of seconds off of the contemporary times, which is really rather impressive. So the grid being cleared. The 3-minute board was shown just a moment ago. Of course, we have multiple races in one here with the various classes, but they do still scrap for overall position. One driver to keep an eye on, Lyle Schofield from 6th position. He can close in on Francesco Azzori's 29.5 point lead. Azzori, our championship leader, who's won every single race he's started so far this year, is not here this weekend. And so we will take the overall championship down to the final meeting of the season in Le Castellet. But, of course, remains to be seen whether Lars Schofield can close down that gap sufficiently. He's got a number of cars in front of him, very quick cars, and the Ferrari 488 Challenge doesn't seem to have the pace over the Porsche Cup cars that it did in Mugello here. A bit more twisty stuff that favours the Porsche, and so that's going to be a bit of a headache for Lyle Schofield. And of course, don't forget that Ginetta GTX car that Gregory Drio is driving from 3rd position is also in his class as well. And he also needs to think about his UCS3 championship. He has a healthy margin there, 17 points ahead of Frederic Lacour, and over his teammate Lorenzo Montiero, 32 points. That's the one he's really going to be worrying about with Lacour not here this weekend. He has a 32-point lead over Montiero. If he leaves here with 32 points, then he will be champion by the end of the weekend in UCS 3. The grid is cleared. Beautiful mix of Ginettas, Porsches, Ferraris. We saw a glimpse of the Ligier as well earlier. Hugo Lacasse in the drive-in prepared Ligier. And Hugo Chevalier puts his foot to the floor to get the formation lap underway, not doing what Emmanuel Collard did in Mugello a few weeks ago, where he went as the pace car peeled off, not when the green flag was shown, and he ended up picking up an in-race penalty for that. So Chevalier clearly been paying attention in the driver briefing. Let's run you through the grid then. On overall pole position, it is Hugo Chevalier in the number 60 DeBard Automobiles by Racetivity Ford GT. Alongside him on Porsche Cup pole position is the 888 Seb Lejeune Racing of Seb Lejeune himself. On UCS3 pole position in third overall is Gregory Drio in the CMR prepared Ginetta GTX car, the former Dams team principal, whose team just got announced as an FIA Formula 3 entrant for next year. Second of the Porsche Cup runners and fourth overall is Cesar van der Westen in the number 14 2B Autosport car, and then the number 89 Gabriel Piemont GP Racing Team Porsche Cup car. Second in UCS3 is Lyle Schofield, our class leader in the SR&R prepared 353 car. Then comes Carla DeBard in the number 81, again Racetivity prepared DeBard Automobiles Porsche, her debut in Porsche Cup. Patrick Michelier in the number 73 at CMR. Ferrari 488 Challenge, that's third in UCS3. Then on UCS Light pole position is Hugo Lacasse in the Ligier from drive-in. UCS4 pole position going to Francois Denis. He has a string of his class rivals right behind him. So it is the Speed Car 555 Ginetta GT4 car that starts ahead of the Herrera Racing Audi of Pierre Aru, number 64, and then the number 6 Adrian Stern Ginetta GT4 Evo. From CMR, the number 6 car. Then comes Marine Perdue in the midget, and at the back of the grid, Olivier Huez in the 303 speed car prepared Ginetta G50. So the V6 version of the GT4 Ginetta. You see headlights start needing to be on because the sun is very low in the sky at the moment. We saw the moon up earlier in the program. So once again, a wonderful mix of machinery in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup, and we have 25 minutes of racing to come to get the weekend kicked off here at the Circuit Navarre de Magny-Cours. And the cars just making their way through the third and final sector, building into formation now. It'll be the Ford alongside the Porsche. How long since we've said that in racing competition? You see, building up the brake temperature, stamping on the throttle, then stamping on the brakes. It's going to be quite tight through the final chicane to go 2 by 2, but they will sort themselves out by the time they get onto the start and finish straight. We'll wait for the lights to get the first race of the weekend underway here at Circuit Magny-Cours. The lights go out, it's foot to the floor. Very even start between the front two, but the power of the Ford, that NASCAR power, just pulls it clear as they pull into the grand curve for the first time of asking into Estoril now. One of the few places where they're looking at track limits on this circuit, but it's a very neat and tidy start for everyone involved. All 14 cars making their way safely through. Some quick dry cement there on the apex of the racing line away out of turn 3. There is Lyle Schofield going wheel to wheel with Gabriel Piemont for 5th position overall. The Irishman pulls to the outside of the Adelaide hairpin. Can't do anything on the brakes out there, but maybe we'll be able to get the run on the run towards the Nürburgring chicane. I remember those two classes running in cars running in different classes, but still battling for overall position, with Schofield trying to get as many points as he can for the overall championship as well. Cesar van der Westen being very closely followed by Gabriel Piemont now for 2nd in Porsche Cup, as the Ford romps clear at the front of the field. Wonderful different mix of engine notes out there. And so it is Gregory Drio splitting the Porsche Cup battle as it was in qualifying, but Lyle Schofield going very well with them. And Patrick Michelier has got past Carla Debard as well. So he's right behind his class rival now in that CMR prepared number 73 car. So he's up into 7th position overall. I think he did that in the first, or just now in the lap as well, because he was behind Carla Debard when the timing split came up at the end of the first sector. But at the end of the first lap, 2.9 seconds is Hugo Chevalier's lead over Sébastien Loeb, with Gregory Drio in 3rd, all class leaders there. And the Porsche Cup battle continues with Cesar van der Westen and Gabriel Piemont. And behind them, the UCS3 battle for 2nd and 3rd, Lyle Schofield and Patrick Michelier, although Michelier seems to have dropped off a little bit in those last couple of corners because he's 2 seconds behind Lyle Schofield. It was a little bit closer than that a few corners ago. Francois Denis has jumped the UCS light leader, as well as Gabriel Piemont just had a little sniff up the inside of Cesar van der Westen into the Adelaide hairpin, but there was nothing doing there. So it's Francois Denis in 9th, Hugo Lacasse, the UCS light leader there, and Pierre Aru, Adrian Stern still holding 2nd and 3rd in UCS 4 respectively. So we have a great string of cars here, 3 seconds separating 2nd from 6th position overall. Flying through the Imola chicane this time, and then into Chateau d'Eu. So one of the areas of the track where the Porsche will extend its advantage over the Ferrari, but then this is where the Ferrari is quite strong on the straights, especially compared to the Porsche. There we have the 555 car, Francois Denis, and so Hugo Lacasse has got back through on Francois Denis for 9th position overall. And so that means our top 3 in UCS4 are now line astern in the timing order, but back to the battle in Porsche Cup, because Gabriel Piemont is really piling the pressure on Cesar van der Westen here. And remember, Piemont getting those extra laps in for the Ultimate GT Endurance race on Sunday. Cesar van der Westen running solo unusually this weekend in that number 14 car. Does have a win to his name in the Porsche Cup category back in Hockenheim. That'd be the first time he's run the car on his own since the first meeting of the season in Paul Ricard, when Carl and Cesar were in separate cars for that particular weekend. There was only one 992 car between them, and so Cesar was in the previous generation 991.2 car, but just for that weekend, since they've been sharing the 992 number 14 car since then. Both coming through the Ross car series as well. His brother Carl, 2-time champion in GT Challenge, but Cesar also coming through from that category. Just listening to the Ford as it blasts past the microphone. Absolutely sensational stuff. Anybody sitting trackside's having a real treat out there for this one. Seb Lejeune looking quite comfortable out to the front of the Porsche Cup field. The Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux class champion a couple of years ago. Still competing in the Benelux series, but members of the Vortex team will be familiar with him, as he was running with them in the 24-hour series a couple of years ago. And sharing the car with Stéphane Perrin for this weekend, the Fun Cup champion. He'll be out for races 2 and 4 tomorrow. So through the Nürburgring chicane here, you see the size of the curbs that some drivers have taken liberties with, but not many. And these guys are really putting some distance to Patrick Michelier. Now 7 seconds the Frenchman is back from this squabble. You can see further back, that is Adrian Stern, who's been quite closely followed by Marine Pidoux and Olivier Huez as well, the French Caterham champion at the back of the field. We'll look to see Lyle Schofield in the 353 car. 5 class wins to his name so far in UCS3. The points leader, as we mentioned, and really hop, skipping and jumping over the curbs at the final chicane, being careful not to trigger the track limit sensor on the outside. It is the white line that they're looking at turn 17, also at the Imola chicane, the Nürburgring chicane, and the exit of Estoril corner. So here, on the outside curbing there, which we didn't quite see for Lyle Schofield, but the Ginetta making quite a grunt of its own as well with the V8 in that car. Remember, that is not a homologated machine. It is a step beyond the GT4 car. It's the development of the G56 platform. And they've been proving their reliability in various 12 and 24-hour races in the Creventic 24-hour series. Remember, it was a GTX class winner at the Dubai 24 Hours this year, but of course increasing their relationship as a brand with the Ultimate Cup Series. We have the Ginetta GT4 Evo here. That car made its global debut at this event last year in the 4-hour GT race and won on its debut. And of course, they've also been using the Prototype Series to help develop their next generation LMP3 car as well, getting some laps on the current car and understanding what they need to improve for the 3rd generation machine that is due to be in competition next year. So Piedmont here pushing through the final chicane. I will say Lyle Schofield was a little bit more aggressive on the curbing. Spit of flame from the Ginetta. We saw that in qualifying. Really hunkers down as they blast through the grand curve. I was able to see some cars going through there during the practice sessions earlier. Oh, off goes Gabriel Piedmont though, in the middle of Estoril corner. And that's a problem for our race leader, Hugo Chevalier, a mechanical seemingly for the Debard Automobiles by Racetivity Ford GT that was leading by 17 seconds out in the front of the field. And Hugo Chevalier has come to a halt from the front of the field. So that means that Seb Lejeune now takes over the overall lead of the race. But, oh, what a disappointment for the Racetivity team. And Schofield has gone through on Gabriel Piedmont for what is now surely going to turn into 4th position with the demise of Chevalier. And here we're going to see maybe what happened. Whoa, big swapper under braking. Completely locking the rear tyres there for Chevalier. Now that could be some sort of ABS issue. It's found one of the alternate layouts that sort of peels off on the outside of the Adelaide hairpin and then rejoins at Chateau d'Eur. But wow, what a shame. And I was poking around that car earlier, and the steering wheel is so it's got 4 buttons on it, the steering wheel for that car. It's got the lights, the radio, the drink, and the speed limiter. But then you think about all the other buttons like the indicator, the ABS and traction control, the brake bias, all these other little knobs and dials that you would see on the steering wheel now. They're all on the center console or on the dashboard rather than on the steering wheel. And it really goes to show the difference in sort of interior design of GT racing cars over the last 17 years. But this is Lyle Schofield now crossing the line in 4th position. As he made that place up on Piedmont following his little off-track excursion at Estoril and the demise of Chevalier. So this is now for the lead of the race. 0.8 of a second between Seb Lejeune and Gregory Drio. Cesar van der Westen now promoted to the podium overall. And then Schofield and Piedmont, Michelier 6th, Debard in 7th. Hugo Lacasse has also just made his way past Hugo Chevalier with Francois Denise now inside the top 9. You see, Gabriel Piedmont is really not letting Lyle Schofield go. We do have yellow flags out at turn 5. I wonder if that is for Chevalier's car. And it's just tried to get it back on track, but has not been able to do so. So this is the lead battle. The Carrera Cup Benelux racer leading the field. So it ran slightly wide there at Virage de l'Ice. Look at that for a shot. The sun setting, the track glowing orange. 13 minutes left on the clock, so we're just coming up to half race distance now. And Ligier hurls it into the Grand Curve. Suddenly he has an opportunity for his first overall win of the season. Just looking through Sébastien Ligier, he was with us in Mugello earlier in the year for the, not in Mugello, sorry, in Portimao for the Trofeo GTS. That's the last time we saw Gregory Drio out as well. He was sharing that car with Eric Muez, who has been the regular in that car, but now Lawrence Tomlinson sharing that car with Gregory Drio for this weekend at least anyway. Yep, this is why we have yellow flags out at turn number 5. Hugo Chevalier has tried to get that car back into the race, but we have marshals out on track. So race leader still being hounded by Gregory Drio there. And Drio, of course, son of Jean-Paul, the founder of the great French team Dams that has seen so much success in Formula One feeder series around the world, but also in the world of sports car racing as well. No stranger to racing himself is Gregory, a V2V Proto Endurance and GT racer, a Le Mans Classic participant as well, and his first outing in the Ultimate Cup Series since Portimao. Right, now this is going to get interesting. Lap traffic starting to get involved. We do have green flags now waving at the Adelaide hairpin, and so Drio, if he wants to, can chuck one up the inside here. They've been lapping the back markers. First of all, Olivier Huez and Marine Pidou, but Drio holds the line for now, as Huez tried to get up the inside of Pidou into the hairpin, but to no avail there. And now they are coming up on the Adrian Stern Ginetta, and so that is a teammate to the car in second position, so he's not going to want to hold up his teammate, and in fact makes it quite easy for both cars to find their way through. See Seb Ligier looking a little bit more comfortable now as we see Cesar van der Westen making his way through the traffic. Lyle Schofield still holding off Gabriel Piedmont. That gap really ebbing and flowing depending on which part of the racetrack you seem to catch them in, and Schofield had a little bit of a crossed up dive on the inside of Chateau d'Eu. Flashing his lights on that Ferrari 488. Challenge, oh, but into the back of him goes Gabriel Piedmont, and Lyle Schofield goes spinning off the road. Disaster for the UCS3 championship leader, who of course is trying to wrap up the championship, and he's got bodywork dragging, some sparks flying there, but overall it looks like Schofield is able to continue, but that was a big hit up the rear he took from Gabriel Piedmont in their battle for 4th position. Piedmont's gone through pretty unscathed by the looks of it, apart from maybe some front nose damage. The 992 version of that Porsche is built quite a bit more sternly than its predecessor. We just saw some of the damaged rear bodywork flying off there. I mean, look how far back Gabriel Piedmont was before the braking zone. He's massively outbraked himself there and pitched the SR&R Ferrari 488 Challenge around. Of course, Schofield was trying to round up some of the traffic, as it's still shedding rear diffuser bodywork. And so that car is not going to be handling quite as nicely as it was a few minutes ago. Unsurprisingly, that incident is under investigation, and Schofield's really struggling for pace here by the looks of it, because he's about to be rounded up by the GT4 speed car. So that looked like a bit of a shake of the hand from Lyle Schofield, who might just try and bring it home at this point. Of course, every point he can bring home will help, even if it is third in class. The good news is he still has 17 seconds over Patrick Michelier. And so maybe second in class is still possible for him with just under 8 minutes left on the clock. We shall see. That looked like Marine Perdue has gone through on Adrian Stern there for 11th position overall. So the UCS Light Midget making its way through on the CMR prepared Ginetta. And that's the Evo version that we were alluding to earlier, that made its global debut at this event last year. But back to the leaders, we will see again. So it's Schofield on the inside, but Piedmont was nowhere near, just completely outbraked himself. And I can't help but think that's going to be a fairly slam dunk penalty for Gabriel Piedmont. And there we see the shedding of the bodywork from that SR&R car. That's definitely seen better days. And into the pits has come Lyle Schofield. That's hugely damaging for his championship hopes, of course, if he doesn't come away with points. See his father just walking around the car. So back with the leaders then with 6.5 minutes to go, and Seb Lejeune is looking a little bit more comfortable now. The gap was a second when they went over the stripe to start the lap. But the gap really does ebb and flow. The Ginetta seems to have a bit of an advantage in the first sector. And it is interesting, both of these cars sort of somewhere between GT4 and GT3 specification. Of course, Porsche Cup machinery built for one make series in Carrera Cup competition around the world, whereas the Ginetta Chasing is just really a plaything to see how quick can we make this G56 car. And I think Gregory Drio just kicked up a little bit of the debris that Lyle Schofield had left behind on a previous lap. There you see the damage. It's rather exposed some components that weren't really meant to see the light of day. According to this, Gabriel Piedmont has been in and out of pit lane as well. Maybe to check the front nose on that, or not sure why Piedmont would have come into pit lane there. And here is Carla Debard, the two women of the field. Our line astern on the racetrack, with Carla Debard putting a lap on Marine Perdue. Schofield out of the car, and that is not a happy Irishman, unfortunately. Of course, this is a bit of a dent to his UCS3 hopes, and the man he's battling now for that UCS3 category is his teammate, the man he's sharing that car with, Lorenzo Monteiro. And so this could complicate things for Lyle Schofield, who's really been the benchmark of those in Ferrari Challenge competition this year, and that car now being pushed into the SR&R garage. So that's all she wrote, sadly. So we've lost two. Hugo Chevalier with some sort of mechanical or technical failure by the looks of it on that Ford GT, and now Lyle Schofield. At 12 continue on. And the gap coming out even further for Sébastien Lejeune now, 1.6 seconds when they went over the timing line. So Seb Lejeune is looking very, very strong here indeed. Gregory Drio puts a lap on the UCS 4 race leader, Francois Denis, who's looking very strong for his third UCS 4 win of the season. Both came in the Trofeo GTS round in Portimao. But we haven't seen the Frenchman out since the third meeting of the season in Hockenheim. Three minutes left on the clock then, and car 89 has been given a 5-second time penalty, but not for what you might think, the incident with Lyle Schofield. It is for track limits. And that is his third infringement of the race. Now the next one has come through. Drive-through penalty for car 89 for causing a collision. And so that'll be why Gabriel Piedmont came through the pit lane earlier. I just got that message on the timing screen. So yes, not fantastic there for Gabriel Piedmont, but the good news is he's 8 seconds ahead of Patrick Michelier and currently lapping faster than him as well. So that 5-second penalty shouldn't affect things too much, and Piedmont will still have a 4th place finish overall, and the Porsche Cup podium as well. Penultimate lap of the race now. And Seb Lejeune looking very comfortable now, 1.7 seconds clear of Gregory Drio, who will bring home the UCS 3 victory with relative ease, but also a very well-earned 2nd position overall, with Cesar van der Westen on the podium as well. The Seb Lejeune racing team with 2 cars here this weekend. They have one dedicated for the GT Endurance. So it won't be the black-nosed and green-striped car that we'll become familiar with in GT Sprint. It's a bit more silver and orange. Final lap of the race then, just 4.411 kilometers to go for Seb Lejeune before he takes his first victory of the season in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. And his advantage now 2.1 seconds over Gregory Drio, who gave it his all. Just pulled out another 10th there, but if you look at the best lap times, Gregory Drio has a 10th in his favor. But Lejeune has been pounding in the laps quite consistently. Built himself a nice margin now over Drio, and has what looks like relatively clear track in front of him as well. And so this will be a first overall victory of the season for Seb Lejeune. And potentially a second win in Porsche Cup as well, as Lejeune in Portimao won in race 2 there. So Gabriel Piedmont shades on inside that car, doing it in style as well. That's coolness if you've ever seen it. I suppose no visor on his helmet, and the sun is just starting to dip below the horizon. And we close out the first day at Circuit Nevers de Magny-Cours with victory for Seb Lejeune in the first race of the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. His first overall, his second in Porsche Cup of the season. Gregory Drio picks up an overall podium finish for the Ginetta GTX car. His first overall podium appearance of the season, and Cesar van der Westen completes the podium, second in Porsche Cup, with Gabriel Piedmont eventually coming across the line, third of the Porsche Cup runners and 4th overall after a difficult race. And here is Patrick Michelier and Carla Debard. And Carla Debard, just on that previous lap, put in her personal best of the race and took a second and a half out of Patrick Michelier and has brought the gap right down, but is just going to run out of laps to try and challenge the Frenchman. And so it is Michelier 5th overall for the CMR team, and Carla Debard completes her Porsche Cup debut, 6th overall and 4th of the Porsche Cup runners. UCS Light will go to Hugo Lacasse in the number 72 drive-in Ligier JS2R, with UCS 4 going to Francois Denis and the 555 speed car Ginetta at G55, ahead of Pierre Aru, who picks up yet another podium in class, the number 64 Herrera Racing Audi. Marine Pidou in 10th in the midget. Adrian Stern completing the UCS 4 podium with the number 6 CMR Ginetta G56 Evo. There he is across the line. With Olivier Huez will be the last car across the line in the 303 Ginetta G50. And so a great way to start proceedings here in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup, but 3 more races to come over the course of tomorrow. And the first one should be quite an early start, I think, for the GT Sprint cars tomorrow. Can have a look. Yeah, race 2 at 9:35 local time. So we'll squeeze in 3 more 25-minute races. Hopefully the Ford will be able to complete a few more laps, especially with Eric Debard at the wheel tomorrow. But Seb Lejoux into Parc Fermé. Cool as a cucumber. Top Gun shades and all. Yep, just a little well done tap to his Porsche Cup car. So certainly a impressive drive, regardless of Hugo Chevalier's mechanical, as he was running very strong in second position and fending off Gregory Drio in the second half of that race very nicely indeed. Thumbs up from Seb Lejoux, and a well done from his eponymous team. And I can just see Gregory Drio, the black helmet in the center of screen there, who seems a bit out of breath with that one. Certainly been putting in the effort. Cesar van der Westen on the left-hand side there seems very, very happy with his performance. 3rd overall. Gives a big hug with one of the 2B Autosport mechanics. Claire Cottingham is waiting patiently to have a word with our race winner. And it seems we're going to hear from Alexandre Herbin.
Sébastien, une première course et une première victoire aujourd'hui. On imagine que vous êtes très heureux.
Oui, Alexandre, ouais, c'était une belle course. Bon, il y avait la Mustang, je pensais qu'elle allait partir très loin sans nous. Bon, je l'ai vu arrêter au bout de la droite, elle avait sûrement un problème. Et après, j'ai déroulé ma course, j'avais un bon écart avec la voiture derrière moi, donc j'ai déroulé, quoi.
L'objectif, j'imagine, c'est de refaire pareil demain. Et demain, ce sera Stéphane qui sera au volant de cette voiture lors de la course 2.
C'est ça, demain, ça sera Stéphane, mais je pense que les voitures derrière auront différents pilotes sûrement. Donc il va se retrouver avec des autres pilotes qui auront peut-être des pneus neufs, peut-être des pneus déjà d'une course. Et là, j'ai une super voiture, les pneus, ça roulait pareil au début qu'à la fin.
Merci Seb, et on va vous retrouver demain. Et on va passer le micro à Claire qui va aller avoir une interview avec un autre pilote.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, my French not as good as it could be. But if you just head over here, let's speak to Lawrence. He wasn't actually in the car, of course. Lawrence Tomlinson, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us again. Wow, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was good fun. Greg's really enjoyed driving the car, so good job. Yeah, he was very consistent. Didn't quite get first, which is she was chasing him down. So I thought when they got into the back markers, they might have had a bit of a a battle, but it's just good solid showing from him.
There's lots going on behind us, which is always the case in a pit lane, very loud. You're racing though this weekend. You're looking forward to being out there racing?
Yeah, I'm sharing a car with Greg, so he's doing 2 races in this one. I'm doing 2 races in it. And then after that, we're doing the GT Endurance, me and Freddie. So I've been in the car all weekend. I'm absolutely tired.
I bet you are. I'm going to go see if I can find Greg. Let's see if I can grab Greg. Greg, come on down. I was just, come. Congratulations. You must be pleased with that. That was a hard one as well. Difficult out there.
It was difficult with myself, being a gentleman driver, but the car is really, really good, well balanced, thanks to Lawrence, who set up the car, and the car is super reliable, so what can you have better? Like good conditions, great car, great team, so everything is well. I'm very happy, very happy.
Beautiful conditions out there as well. Obviously, we lost the man that was on pole position, car 60. Did you see anything of what happened?
I just saw him on the sideline in Adelaide, so I knew I was second at that time. That's all I know.
That's still good, though. You must be really pleased with that performance.
Yeah, I'm very happy, very happy. Thank you.
Good. Well, I'll let you go. I'll see if I can find Caesar. He might have wandered off to see if I can speak to one of the Van der Westens. However, I have just lost him from my eye line. Oh, there he is, Caesar. I'm going to grab him regardless. Sorry, I'm just going to steal Caesar for a second. Caesar, congratulations, third place overall. How was it out there? Were you happy?
Yeah, super happy. When my engineer told me like the first car is done, I was like, I'm third. So I was like, I kept everything. I was super happy in the car. I was just excited to be done and be sure to be third. And it was a super nice race.
It's very weird not seeing you with your brother. Obviously, Carl not here this weekend. He's out rallying, of course. Have you spoken to him? Are you keeping up to date?
Not yet. I'm speaking to him to know how it's going him because it's way more dangerous than here. So I have a lot of update from him, but I'm going to call him just after.
Lots of racing still to go this weekend. How are you feeling about this track?
If the weather is not changing, I love Magny-Cours and I'm very, I'm driving well in Magny-Cours, so I think it's going to be a nice weekend. And I hope to do even better maybe on the next race. So.
Well, congratulations, it's third overall, second in class as well, I believe.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No worries. Okay, very loud in the pit lane, of course, here. We will be back racing tomorrow. Do make sure you join us. There is an announcement tonight at 8:30 as well, so make sure you join us for that to be live streamed, of course. We've got some big news, but make sure you join us as well tomorrow. Racing will continue here at Magny-Cours.
We got it.